Welcome back to another video, guys. Today is a video that I've been wanting to make for a while, and it is my official DCI uniform tier list. And uniform, costume, I don't know, you can kind of, they used to be called uniforms, now they're called costumes because of how it's evolved, but that's exactly why we're making this video, because DCI, the way that we look on the field has changed immensely over the past couple decades. And so as a result, there's so many different looks, so many different styles, there's classics, there's new versions and new styles. So I wanted to take a look at a bunch of different uniforms and put them on a tier list. Disclaimer, because you guys love calling this out in the comments, this tier list is definitely subjectively based on my preferences, but I'm gonna give some parameters to how I'm gonna be grading these uniforms. I'm gonna be grading them based on a couple factors. Number one, recognizability. Is the drum corps uniform, can I tell that it's that corps? Does it have identity to the history of the corps, to the kind of the brand of the drum corps? Number two, does it help enhance the show? Does it make sense thematically in terms of the concept of their program? And number three, is it innovative? Is it changing the game? Is it pushing the activity forward? Is it something new that we haven't seen before? So I'm gonna kind of measure those things. And then also four is like a cool factor. Is it cool? Would I wanna wear it? So those are kind of the main factors that I'm gonna be looking at. But again, this list may be super different for you when you view it. So that being said, disclaimers out the way, let's go ahead and take a look at some of the uniforms here. And we're just gonna go through a bunch of different uniforms and a bunch of different corps. I'm sorry if your favorite uniform or your corps is left out of this list. I can't do everyone, but let's go ahead and just jump right in. Spirit of Atlanta 2025. I actually put out a Instagram post and a lot of you guys kept saying Spirit of Atlanta 2025. So this uniform, I like how you can see that, I don't even know what it's called, that little like the logo. I like how that's on the center of this. It's got the classic kind of light blue color from Spirit of Atlanta, and it's got kind of like this this suede texture on it. But I think it does make sense with the rocket theme of the show. But I'm gonna have to go just like middle of the ground C tier for me. It's not really breaking the game in any sort of way, but I do like, you know, how it looks. So I'm gonna put it right here in C tier. Moving on to the Colts, we have these uniforms. I think this was 2024. I think it was 2024. I loved these uniforms. These were kind of controversial. A lot of people were like, not huge fans of it, but they got the split right down the middle, and these uniforms are super effective. Like from a general effect standpoint and with their show concept, it was super cool to see them switching legs, and the choreography was written specifically for the use of these uniforms. So I think these are clean. They're like identifiable to me as the Colts with the color scheme, and I think that I really like these uniforms. So I got to put these guys all the way up, and let's say I'm gonna say B tier. B tier is where I think these we have the Troopers. This was from one of their shows that was in the theme. This is post-COVID. I think this is 2022, but I really like this uniform. It's got the kind of Western vibe that the Troopers had post 2020, and I thought these uniforms are really cool. I think especially with the kind of the hat that they had on, I thought it was super effective, and I like it. It's just like a cool uniform. I would be happy to wear this for sure. I think it's very identifiable to the Troopers brand. So I gotta put these up in B tier as well. I think these are really solid, fun uniforms that make sense for the show concept as well. So I'm gonna go B tier for these guys. The Blue Knights, I believe this was 2019 or 2018. I think it was 2018. I really like these uniforms. I think the show was called like I or something. It was just like the letter I. And you can see the iris of the uniforms. It's got a lot of sequin, very identifiable to the Blue Knights brand, but also still kind of unique. In each of the sections of the horn line had different colors of the eye. And so I really like this uniform. I think it was really cool, especially to see them all on the field together in like a big group. I think it was very effective visually. So I'm going to go ahead and put this also B tier. B tier. Super solid. Not like a uniform that I would like specifically call out as like an all-time great, but very identifiable. I like this. All right, moving on to another Blue Knights classic. We've got the Blue Knights uniforms from 2015. This is a classic look. We're back in the Shako era with these like light colored blue Shakos. I like these as well with the dots on the arm, symbolic of their dots of their the logo. This is a super clean uniform. I remember seeing this in 2015 and liking just how classic and good these uniforms look to me. So I think I gotta go A tier for this. This is like identifiable Blue Knights brand. I think it's a really solid uniform that I'm a huge fan of in general, and the show was really good too, which contributes to that as well. So I'm gonna go A tier for this classic, the OG classic Blue Knights uniform. All right, we have Blue Knights 2025, the most recent Blue Knights show. This was, a controversial uniform. When we first dropped these uniforms, a lot of people were not big fans of them. And I understand why. I want to say this. Well, I was part of the design team for the show. I was not part of the choosing the uniforms at all. But these uniforms, super effective. Like, they were definitely like really, really helpful as a tool for just how striking they were on the field. It made us look really good from a high vantage point. Obviously, if you look up close with the pipe imagery on it, it's maybe not the coolest or hippest thing for kids these days, but these uniforms were very purposeful, very thematic to the show. But yeah, cool factor, maybe not so much. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to put them in C tier. I don't know if as someone who marched in a different era of drum corps, I don't know if I would have been super excited to wear these uniforms, but I'm going to put them in C tier for now. Just because, there is a cool factor that I think is, maybe not fully there. All right, let's move on to the Cadets. The Cadets uniforms. Let's go ahead and start with the OG, the classic 2011 Angels and Demons. This was a really cool show, specifically because of the uniform. So gets a lot of points for that as well. This is the classic Cadets uniform. Nothing special for sure. Not nothing special, nothing out of the ordinary. This is kind of how the Cadets looked forever. But the use of the light and the dark and the good and the bad and using those uniforms in the drill, this gotta be an all-time great for me. You can see the red uniform here and then the white uniform, the cream uniform there. I really like the Cadets uniforms in general, the classic ones, and just all the way down to the Shako and the plume. I'm going S tier. This uniform is like all-time favorite for me for sure. So S tier uniform, also very thematic, very important to the actual show design. So it's got to be an S tier for me. All right, moving on to the Cadets 2015 uniform. This one, I just did a reaction video to this show. I was a huge fan of this. Again, Cadets, pretty straightforward, not really deviating that much all until like the late 2010s. So this was a huge departure for them at the time. And I love this uniform. This is where my personal bias is definitely going to come in because I'm a huge fan of this. When they came out with these uniforms in the late season, I was like, dang, that is clean. I really liked it. So for me, this is A tier for sure. Like, I am a huge fan of these uniforms. I think it's just cool factor through the roof. I'm a big fan. So I got to put this guy in A tier for me. All right, moving on. I believe this is Cadets 2022. This one was a very divisive. A lot of people had opinions about this one for sure. It was the year where they had like this kind of graffiti-esque kind of undercoat as well underneath, and so still very identifiable to the Cadets brand. It's got the red, it's got the the exact kind of tones that they use, but man, those under uniforms, I don't know if I can get behind them. I like, they just had this kind of like cheapness to it almost, that with the design that I wasn't a huge fan of. So I gotta put this in D tier. Again, this is personal preference, everyone. Like, don't light me up in the comments, but this uniform was not it for me. I was not a fan of this. It just looked a little cheap. I think if they made it a little bit more quality, like more high quality material or a look to it, I maybe would have changed my mind. But I'm gonna go D tier for this one, honestly. Oh, this is it. This is what it looked like. I'm gonna replace the picture. This is what that uniform looked like. It just kind of looks like a shirt, you know what I'm saying? So I'm gonna put this one in D tier. All right, moving on to the Mandarins. All right, we got Sinnerman, huge beloved show. I think these uniforms are really cool. I don't know if this is a good representation of them because I think they do have like something else to the uniform, but I like the whole vibe. The whole vibe of the show thematically, musically, with the bowler, kind of these like not bowler hats, but like these kind of top hats with the kind of style of music they were playing and with the overalls as well. I'm a big fan of this. I think this is super solid. I'm going to go ahead and put this B tier. I'm going to put this B tier. I don't think it's necessarily like, it doesn't scream Mandarins for me. But I like the like chances they took with that uniform. I think it paid off. I think it definitely paid off. All right, we're gonna move on to Mandarin. I don't know. This was 2018, maybe, or no? Oh, this is 2022. 2022 Mandarins. These uniforms, I remember early season. I think you see all like these kind of these chrome or these like silver like things that they added onto the uniform. That wasn't there at the time. So I remember seeing them walk by in the Rose Bowl, and I was like, "What is that?" Because they have like these. I don't know if this is meant to be like abs, but they literally were just like wearing a shirt with the print on, and it looked super super cheap. I think they saved it a little bit with like these additional kind of shiny things they put on it with these kind of straps. But these uniforms really, really were rough for me. I don't like the print. Just the print on the shirt just looks so just cheap to me. I get what they were trying to go for, but for me, I gotta go E. I gotta go E tier for this one. I'm not a huge fan. I'll go D. I'll go D. I won't be too ruthless here. I'll give it a D here. I'll give it a D. All right, now we have the Mandarins. I think this is pre-COVID. I think this is 2018 maybe. But these uniforms, wow. This was like the first time they really like stepped out from what they looked like before, and it's ballsy. Like just the Shako with the stripe in the front, and then also the zippers. Like this was super ambitious, and with these kind of shoulder pad things, like in the leather, it's very ambitious. And honestly, I think it was pretty effective. The capes are really cool too. This is a really innovative, I think, kind of approach to the uniform. So I'm gonna give this an A. I think these are really cool. I think they're definitely memorable. I think they did a good job with the kind of approach and design to that uniform. We have the most recent year. This is 2025, and I'm a big fan of this uniform. I feel like the Mandarins, the all white with these knee pad designs here. There's a lot of intricacies. They did have print on the uniform, but they're just kind of like shaping lines that are very effective, I think, to make you look good. And then the fishnet, which is a uniform, it's a call, definitely influenced by another uniform that's on this list for sure eventually. But I like the color, the use of this teal, like this like turquoise color, and then the cut of the jacket. Really solid uniform. This is A tier for me. Easily an A tier for me. I really like this uniform this year. All right, moving on to the Cavaliers. Let's take a look. Classic. I think this is Cavies 2011, I think, with the dollar sign. I think that's that show. This, man, classic unit. Look at the bagginess of kind of like their sleeves with the gauntlets. Classic Aussie with the feather. Super cool look. I really like this uniform. This is going to be a classic for sure. It's kind of how the uniforms look like for the Cavaliers, like forever. And they didn't really depart yet, but this is kind of like the modern version of that for sure. So I'm going to put this A tier. A tier for sure. It's a classic Cavies uniform, super identifiable, like very much their brand. So got to put that in A tier. All right, then we have the Cavies in 2019. I don't know. Someone can correct me on this. I think this is a pre-COVID show, and man, they were really going for it. I got to give an A+ for ambition in these uniforms. I think they're definitely like different, and definitely a huge departure from the Cavaliers brand. Not super identifiable in terms of the Cavaliers identity, but super ambitious. I'm not a huge fan of this look. I think also the color choices don't make them look very striking on the field. Like it doesn't help them. Like this is a high quality shot. You can see them up close, and there's a lot of detail, and I do appreciate that with the ruffles and all this stuff. But from afar, I don't think it reads really well on the field. And I know all the uniforms are slightly different. This one's got to go C tier for me. I'm not a huge fan. Of this one. All right, and now we got Cavies 2023, I think is this is the year. Man, I really like these. So we kind of past this experimental era of the Cavaliers and went back to kind of just the classic green, the classic Cavaliers green. And I love, you know, I think some people maybe hate this kind of like stylized interpretation of the feather on the hat, but I really like it. I think it's like new. I think the bringing back the Aussie is like super sick, and the colors are classic. You still got a little bit of like the looseness in the arm with the gauntlets. I think it's just a super clean classic take. It's like, to me, how you should modernize your classic drum corps uniform. So this one's got to be A tier for me. I like this a lot. All right, moving on to the Boston Crusaders. We got their 2022 show. This was kind of when everyone woke up and was like, whoa, Boston's really good. Watch out. And I like these uniforms. I think they're cool. I think the Hornline uniforms are not as cool as the Drumline. The Drumline, if you remember, they were wearing all black and then they had the hoods on. And so, you know, the Hornline ones, I think they were trying to go for a drop crotch look, but I don't think it's done quite well as, you know, the famous drop crotch uniforms that we all know and love. But I do like the detail of the straps on the chest, and I do think that they looked, you know, decent from a far vantage point. But I think that the best part about this show was not the uniforms. I think the uniforms were, you know, decent, good enough. So for that reason, I'm going to put them in C tier. They're not recognizable as Boston either. Like, I wouldn't be able to tell. If you were to show a random person this who's never seen anything from that year, they would not be able to say that's Boston Crusaders. Moving on to their 2018 production, I think. This was like the Lost one where they're like all lost on an island or something. This one, guys, I'm gonna be honest, I am not a huge fan of this. Like, I kind of get what they're going for, but the neon and the purple, like, I just don't get it. I think this one's like either you love it or you hate it. But you can see some of the details of like the coordinates on the arm, on the faded coordinates on the body there. But yeah, this one's not it for me. I gotta give this a D. I gotta give this a D. The neon's really throwing me off. It's not really identifiable to the Boston Crusaders brand. So I'm gonna toss that one in the D category. Don't be mad if you like them. That's totally fine. All right, moving on to the Boston Crusaders from 2024. This uniform looks very similar to a uniform that is coming up on this list, but the Boston Crusaders obviously this is the year they had all the different colors of the uniforms, very just like striking, colorful uniforms. But to me, like, it was effective for the show. I understand that. But I think it's too much of a, like, almost like a rip. Seems like a straight copy of Carolina Crown. So I wasn't a huge fan of that. I obviously, like, they had the light on their Shako thing, and it's the Shako though just looks kind of stubby to me. It looks too short, and I'm just not a huge fan of how similar they look to Carolina Crown. Like, if you were to show anyone this, if you were to go back in time and show a picture of this uniform to someone back in time, they would have said that's Crown 100%. So, like, to me, not very original, like, not a huge fan. I think they were effective in the show, but definitely not in my top. So I'm going to go E tier for these uniforms. All right. Now we have Boston Crusaders in 2019. They're super, like, stylized for the show, and I like that. And I think that is definitely, like, it's kind of got that, like, Roman or ancient kind of look to it. It's very stylized. I'm not a huge fan. Again, this looks to me like a cheap Halloween costume that you'd buy from Party City. That's really harsh, but I think there's so much better Boston Crusaders uniforms than this. So I just can't get by with the helmet thing. I think it's and just this kind of, like, printed thing is just I'm not a huge fan of. So I gotta go. Man, people are gonna think I'm Boston haters, but I'm gonna go E. I would not want to wear this uniform. I'm not a huge fan. Sorry, guys. Let the biased comments come in. I'm ready for them. Finally, we have the Boston Crusader Championship uniforms from this past year. Now, this uniform, huge fan. I love this uniform a lot. I think stylistically, there is so much that they could have done with this era of America, like era of like Americana with the show concept. This encapsulates that perfectly, I think. I think it really does. I think you can really just tell that's kind of where they're coming from. I love the detail from like the puffiness here with the zipper that's only just in this part of the uniform, with these gauntlets that go through the finger loop. Like, these are really, really cool uniforms to me. And I like the detail of the little thing with the string coming out the middle. Like, there's just a lot of high quality detail. I think this is a huge departure from kind of the last one we just saw. So I honestly, and I love the stripe along the leg. I'm always a fan of the stripe along the leg. It goes all the way up through the hip. I'm going to put these in S tier. This is like a perfectly well done uniform to me that's like just so perfect for the show concept. I got to go S tier for this one. Boston really hit out the park, and you know, they hit a lot out of the park with this show in general, but the uniform is also part of that list for me. So I'm going to go S tier for that uniform from Boston. All right, moving on to Carolina Crown. We have my favorite Carolina Crown show of all time, 2016. Now, I really like these uniforms a lot. Like, I think they are, again, just another variant of the classic Crown uniform that was established in 2013. So I think it was a variant of that. It's not very necessarily like original in terms of like the cut or kind of how they look. It's just a different colorway of it. But I think it looks really, really good, especially when you watch them on the field with everything, with the music and with all the props and with the color guard. These uniforms are really great. And, you know, this video is not about color guard, but I love the color guard uniforms from this year as well. So this is a super solid uniform for me. And I think, like, of the era of these uniforms, I think this is my favorite of them all. I love the detail of just the kind of I don't even know what kind of, what pattern this is, but along the leg on that stripe makes them look good all the way through the top of the uniform. And then on the inside of their Shako, money. I like it. Give me an A. All right, moving on, we have Carolina Crown 2018. Now this uniform, guys, boy did people not like this one, guys. I'm gonna be honest, I made fun of this uniform when I marched to. This is from 2018. Crown went all out. I will say that they made a ballsy decision to go with these uniforms. Like, they're just so different than anything they've had in the past. They tried to go the full beast reptile-y look with the kind of, I'll give them credit. Like, the detail is there. Like, it looks detailed. It's definitely like fitting in the theme and concept of the show. But man, I did not want to wear this uniform. And the headgear, it just looks silly to me. This is F tier. I'm sorry, Crown. This is F tier. I gotta be real. Like, I can't with these uniforms. And, you know, call me a hater all you want, but these uniforms are not it for me. Not it for me. Okay, moving on. Carolina Crown 2019. Now, I love these uniforms. I'm a huge fan. I think this was actually one that people were kind of like hating on a little bit. But I like the clear. Like, I don't think I've ever seen that before. Like, to me, this is very identifiable as Carolina Crown, especially when Carolina Crown kind of established themselves as like purple is their color. Super identifiable, super modern, like super futuristic. And they take these off at some point, or they put them on. I don't know which order it was, but I really like these uniforms a lot. Personally, like, I think these are great uniforms that are weird, that are different, but in all of the right ways. So for that reason, this is going to go A tier for me. All right. Carolina Crown 2023, I think, is the round table. I don't really like these uniforms, guys. Like, I understand what they're going for, but guys, you think of like Camelot, right? Round Table, like, they could have done such cool things, and instead they just put like this print with like this old kind of Shakespearean looking writing on it, and I wasn't a huge fan. And then they got the hoods too, but these hoods are not done well, in my opinion. Like, there's like, if you watch Boston and you watch them in 2022 and how they put the hoods on, those are really cool. But like, these ones just didn't, they had a lot of issue, I think, with making those hoods look cool and putting them on even. So I think this uniform was not it for me. Again, Crown, they take swings at it, but sometimes they miss. So this one's E tier for me. We're going to move on now to the Phantom Regiment. Now we're going to start here with the classic, the OG 2008. Man, beautiful uniforms, like classy, like with the gold and it just like Phantom Regiment has this regal look to them at all times. To me, that's like the first word. It's like regal, royal look. And these uniforms, obviously an amazing show. People love this show, but this has got to be, I would love to wear this uniform. The classic regiment white, like, super cool. I don't even say anymore. I'm putting it S tier. Got another one. This one, I believe, is from Into the Light. This is 2010. Just another really cool, classy look to them. I love kind of this thing that loops into the front of the uniform and also goes back over the shoulder as well. Really cool. I like this uniform a lot. A tier. Not really much to be said here other than it's just like a classic Phantom Regiment uniform. Now we're moving on. This was 2024. I think it's 2024. Now here's where they kind of departed from the classic Phantom look, and we had a kind of modernized take on it. They kind of did this post-COVID in general, or actually no, like late 2010s as well. But it's got a classic look. To me, it's just not really like that remarkable, or that it wasn't that far deviating from just the white and the black. So I'm just gonna go, let's say B tier for this one. All right, now we're getting to some of my favorite uniforms here. Santa Clara Vanguard. We're gonna start with their 2017 uniforms. Let's take a look at that. Okay, boom. Man, love this uniform. I remember when they came out the gate, and I was like, dang, that's cool. Like, Vanguard really hadn't broken apart, like away from their usual template. They'd make slight changes here and there, but man, when they came out with this, I mean, obviously you can tell where this is influenced from. We'll get to that, but these uniforms, I love just the splattered kind of look of the red with the sequins on these certain lines here. They got the Vanguard star on the uniform with the Ouroboros around the neck. Like, man, they really hit out the park. This is a great show. I love the shoulder cuff thing too. Like, okay. I mean, and they still got the cummerbund thing around the waist. S tier, guys. I gotta give it to them. S tier. I gotta put it there. Another uniform from Santa Clara Vanguard. This is from their 2014 show. And this, I think, is like one of the first times they, at least in the modern era, that they use the white uniform. Usually their uniforms are red. But back in this time, they put out the white with the red sash. Guys, personally, one of my favorites of all time. And especially, this is unrelated, but the drum wrap here, I was obsessed. The colors were so rich. And the shoulder things with it very thematic with the show concept, but they got the star, the classic star. This is a top uniform for me. I can't really put it S because it is just like another variation of like the classic uniform, but gotta go A on this one. This one's really great. I love this uniform a lot. And if I was to march Vanguard, I would have loved to march in a uniform like this. They just look so good. I was such a huge fan. All right, now we have the Santa Clara Vanguard uniforms from this year. Now, like, okay, again, Santa Clara Vanguard and neon, man. I don't know what they love so much about neon. This uniform, it was okay for me. Not very memorable, I'll say. Like, when I look, I really like this show a lot. And there's no really red in this uniform at all among the entire corps. So the uniform is okay. I mean, they had an amazing show in general. So like, that is always great for them, but this is C tier for me. Just not really doing it for me. Not really doing it for me in a remarkable way, at least. So I'm gonna go C tier for that uniform. 2019 uniforms. Now these ones, man. Oh, I marched in this year as well at the Blue Devils, and when we saw these uniforms with the neon like color guard uniforms, and then we saw these with this like graffiti look and this gray look. It just didn't make them look good on the field. Like, I just felt like this was just such a miss, to be honest. So I am not a huge fan of these uniforms. I gotta put this I'm gonna put this in F. I remember not being a fan of these. And again, personal preference, but I gotta go F for this one. And now we have, of course, Need I say more? This might be the best uniform of all time. Might be. It's debatable. It's in the conversation. Like, this changed the game. The drop crotch, the cool baggy look, the streetwear, the barcode, the Santa Clara Vanguard V going right over the chest with the star there, with the fishnets and the face covering. Oh my God. This is, it's like double S tier. This is number one for me so far. From everything we've seen, this is SSSS double S tier. Gotta be in the top. Like, it's gotta be up there. It's gotta be in the conversation for greatest of all time. I don't even need to say anymore. Everyone knows it. Incredible. All right, moving on to the Blue Devils. Guys, don't even bother commenting, oh, he's so biased towards Blue Devils. Yeah, I love the Blue Devils uniforms. This is the corps that I wanted to march for my entire childhood, and then I finally got to march them. So yes, I am biased towards these uniforms. So let's just get that out the way. 2011, starting with 2011. These uniforms, super sick, super classic. They had the double stripe on the leg. This is just like the classic Blue Devils blue with the eagle emblem on the shako. Just a super classic look. To me, not their best look, but it has a side cape. It has all those things. I'm going to put it in B tier. It's just a super solid uniform. I'm going to put it right there, right in B tier. All right, 2014 Blue Devils. Man, this is the cleanest Blue Devils uniform out there. It's very simple. It's very simple. It doesn't have that much going on, but I love just the kind of fading from the white into the black of the sequins with the stripe on the arm. Just the solid kind of tuxedo almost look that they have to these buttons with the red cape on the inside. When you see them jazz running in this show and see that red flash when they're coming by, just super, super solid look. This is also when they introduced this emblem on the shako, and that is actually a reference to a camera lens. And so this was made for this show, and we actually used this shako design even after that, which is funny because this was made specifically for a show about Fellini-esque, which is Fellini in film. So we kept using it, but this is an iconic uniform for that reason, especially. But super clean uniform, super clean look. Like, it is, to me, that's Blue Devils. This is identifiable as Blue Devils look. I love the blue feather in the shako as well. This is A tier. This is A tier. All right, moving on. 2024 Blue Devils. Man, these are the most recent uniforms that are on this list, I feel. Oh, no, there's some from 25. All right, starting over. All right, moving on. Blue Devils 2024. I really like these uniforms. These capes, man, super, super cool. And they had these double front cape panels, double back cape panels, like definitely like different. It's a different look. It's a dark look from the Blue Devils. I remember looking at this. And there's also like this kind of emblem thing on the neck. And just the opening sequence when they come out with these uniforms, super cool. Effective? Yes and no. I think it kind of dirtied them up a little bit on the field visually wise, but I'm a big fan of the capes. I think they're really cool, but I think it also detracted from the kind of effectiveness on the field. But I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to put this in B tier. I think it's a really cool uniform for a lot of reasons, but yes, it did kind of hinder the cleanliness of the drill. But man, those capes look really cool. You guys, if you want to be reminded, go watch just the first 10 seconds of the Blue Devils show, and you can see all of them kind of walking forward, and then the color guard gets revealed from underneath. It's just so sick. Huge fan. All right, moving on to my own uniform. This is 2019. I like these uniforms a lot, guys. I mean, I'm a huge fan, obviously. I got to wear it, and I loved this outer coat. I think the outer coat is really cool, and the blue and the yellow combination at the Blue Devils, one of my favorites ever. But I love the side cape and how it would kind of fade into the white, and just the look of these outer coats. I felt like such a badass wearing these uniforms. I mean, obviously, I have sentimental attachment to it, but it's got to be A tier for me on these uniforms. Super, super awesome uniforms to wear. I felt like it was so Blue Devils identifiable, and it was just a really fun uniform to wear. So, sorry, goes in A tier. And the final Blue Devils uniform, 2017. There's another picture of me from that year. These uniforms were really cool. If you can see kind of these stripes here with this, there's kind of like these buttons here. that's just kind of a modern take on the old classic uniform, because this show was all about the transition from the old style of Drum Corps and evolving into the new. And then when we take off the uniform, it looked like this underneath. Don't mind my how tired I look in this picture, but the underneath with the sequins and the sparkliness and the different colored arms, I thought it was just super effective. This is S tier. This is S tier, guys. I mean, I'm not the only one to say it. I'll be honest. I'm not the only one to say that this is an S tier uniform. So I feel a little bit better that I'm not just like shouting into a void here on my own on that one. But man, Blue Devils 2017 uniforms, really like my favorite uniform I ever wore, and just one of the best uniforms ever, I think. All right, moving on to our final corps, and you guessed it, the most cutting edge corps out there, the Bluecoats. Let's take a look at some of their uniforms, starting with 2014 Tilt. Now, this uniform might be the #1 uniform that I want to wear if I was marching. This is such a sick uniform. The way that they kind of had this kind of stripe that was at a tilt throughout the body, it was just so perfectly thematic for the uniform. And at the time, it still has that classic blue coat look. I really like this uniform. I think it's so classy, so just perfect for the time. That's going to be an A tier for me. Super, super clean. Just such an awesome look. I love the deep blue of the Bluecoats uniforms in this era. So that one's A tier for me. Now we have, of course, the most controversial uniform of all time. Controversial is definitely the word you'd say for this one. This one, loved, hated, all of the above. We made fun of these uniforms a lot when we start marching. Now, probably the most influential uniforms of all time. Uniforms changed into costumes, pretty much. Because you can't really call this a uniform, you call it a costume. So that's kind of like Bluecoats are responsible for that. So on the influential scale, S tier. But on the just a uniform tier list, honestly, I gotta go B. And maybe people are gonna hate on me for this, but I was not a huge fan of how these looked. I think that was striking. It was shocking, but I don't think I'd want to wear it. I don't think I wanted to wear it. So I think super influential. Again, I'm not going to discredit that, but not my favorite uniform by any means. All right, moving on to our boy Malik in the 2017 uniforms. Now this one, in 2016, they changed the game. They were really different, and they kept going down that route with these uniforms, and I think this was a miss. Bluecoats take swings, and they'll take big swings, but that means they'll also take big misses, and I think this was that for me. I think these uniforms did not look very good, and I didn't like the color guard uniforms either. Sorry, but this is going down to F tier, not S. F tier. And I think other people who marched the Bluecoats, including Alan and Malik, would say this as well. So, it is what it is. Moving on, 2022 Bluecoats. Now, these uniforms are super interesting, super psychedelic, very, very fitting for the show. Definitely not a huge fan of when they put the the yellow and white uniform overcoats after, and they kind of had to have a lull in the show. They kind of ruined the show momentum for me when they had to go put those on. But I think this uniform is very thematically cohesive with the show. So, and I don't hate them. I think they're definitely striking, and they took a chance with this, but I don't hate it. So I'm just gonna go middle of the road, C tier for me. Middle of the road. Let's go C tier right here. Put them right in the middle. Moving on to our last couple uniforms. We have the 2023, I think it is. 2023, the Flower Show. And man, again, I think you either love or you hate these uniforms. I love these uniforms. I think they're super interesting. I love how flowy they are, and especially when you watch them on the field in movement, I think super effective. Really cool look. I love the color palette. They are really busy. There's a lot going on in these uniforms, but I actually don't mind it. I like it a lot. So I'm going to put these in a B tier, because I think these are just very interesting uniforms in the best way possible. So I'm going to go B tier for these ones. And then we have our last uniform of the video, and we're going to go with our 2024 champion Bluecoats here. Man, probably the farthest departure from the Bluecoats look, with just a straight up red, no blue at all. You have a core with the name blue in it, wearing just white and red. People were clowning on this for being like, oh, it looks like a fast food worker like uniform, and I understand why. I think it's really cool when they came out with these uniforms and just like seeing just how striking and shocking and different it was, and how cohesive it was with the uniforms on with the props on the field too. I'm a big fan of this uniform. Like, I think they took a huge chance with this, but this show in general is so good. And I think the uniforms really kind of enhance all of that. I don't think it takes away from it. I think it adds to it a lot. Thematically, really relevant with the different varying like size of stripes as they multiply. With it's just really well done. I think I'm a big fan of it. And I think the drum major uniform, there's a variant of this for the drum majors that was like so sick. I love that a lot. So I'm going to go S tier. Screw it. I'm going S tier with this one. I think this one was really cool. I think this deserves recognition for that, and I'm a big fan of it. And that's definitely divisive. I think there's going to be people in the comments saying this doesn't deserve to be S tier, but it is in my opinion. So there you have it, guys. This is the tier list. This is it. This is the whole list right here. I'm sure you disagree. So let me know what you disagree about in the comments. But, uniforms are definitely super subjective. Like, it's a very subjective thing to have your own opinions or what you like. But yeah, this is kind of what stands out to me as like some of the greatest uniforms of all time. I can see in the top tier, I have Cadets, Boston, Phantom, Vanguard twice, Blue Devils, and Bluecoats. It's a good mix in there. I think there's a good mix in there. And then, there's the rest of them all fall where they are. So let me know what you guys think in the comments. What are your thoughts on uniforms? And thank you guys for tuning in. This is a different kind of video, but I wanted to just yap on here. And so if you got all the way to the end of the video, comment potato if you got all the way to the end of this video, so I can see how many of y'all watch this all the way through. But yeah, guys, thank you again. Please subscribe if you aren't subscribed. Throw a little subscribe if you aren't. A lot of you guys aren't, so it just helps out the channel a lot and costs you nothing. So anyways, thanks for watching, guys. See you in the next one. Peace.